Evening. Thursday evening. I can't believe it's Thursday evening. My week only started yesterday after a bout of COVID. So thanks for joining me, Dan and Mark. Ian promises to join us. Excuses he was at the park. I don't know what he was doing at the park in the dark. We'll have to ask him when we see him. See if there's a relevant excuse.
I know what he was doing. I know what he was doing. Eating McDonald's, honestly.
The secret McDonald's eater.
Yeah.
He tells us that he's an elite marathon runner, but maybe he's secretly eating McDonald's. So there's a few things that we've put on the chat that we're going to talk about tonight. Here he is.
Hey.
He doesn't know we were talking about him.
Carry on.
I was just about to introduce the topics. We were just wondering what you do at the park in the dark. But
I actually came from McDonald's with my 5-year-old.
I called it.
Dan might have known because he did speak to me while I was there.
Cheating! We're all cheating.
Yeah.
I didn't cheat my diet though at McDonald's. It was just Grace that had a McDonald's. I held strong. I might have nicked 3 chips, but other than that, that was it.
Oh, I would have cheated my diet.
Yeah. Good discipline. Crazy day, hey? Has anyone checked in on what's been going on with old Mr. Sunak?
We've literally just started. We're more checking in on your diet and the adventures of Ian for being 1 minute late. So we were just going to hit the topics. So the adventures of Richie Sunak and his bonkers plans to save the world with plans that nobody understands. That's topic 1.
Yeah.
The market's great, but is the pricing great? That's topic 2. Interest rates. The topic was, are they set to increase? Did they increase? That's number 3. Price of fuel, power extensions, and will that make people move? That ties in with Richie Sunak. Number 4, something I'm adding, Michael Gove. Let's go full political tonight. Michael Gove. It just brings a laugh, doesn't it? He's now the face of the government white paper for levelling up, which includes housing and renting reforms. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. Where should we? We've got to kick off. Mr. TikTok, Mr. Filter, Ian Macbeth has been on TikTok this afternoon, absolutely destroying the government. So I think we've got to start there, really.
I put TikTok content on slightly different to Facebook, Mike, so I wouldn't be as bold as that. But yeah, if you want to check it out. And also the filter, I don't know how to turn it off.
Yeah.
If you go onto TikTok, you just get a filter. And for me, they've just decided that I've got excellent white teeth that I don't actually have, like something out of The Only Way is Essex. They make my hair look a little bit darker as well, which I'm quite pleased about. And I'm always fairly bronzed. But yeah, check it out at Avocado Ian. It's all popping off on TikTok today. Put a little video on a couple of hours ago. There's been about 3,000 watches of it, and there's about 41 comments. So if you want to have a bit of fun this evening, check out those comments because some of them are savage. As always, TikTok does not hold back. But yeah, if you can hear us and you're listening, just pop a like, pop a comment, let us know you can hear us all okay. Couple of minutes in, and thanks for obviously everyone joining us. Last week we had a really good conversation, a lot of property related stuff. We're obviously into February now, which is mental. That's crazy, Mark, isn't it? I know you've had a busy start to the year, but the fact that we're into February already, it's been bananas. Bonkers was the word we used last week, but bananas I think we'll use this week because it's just been bananas. You've been busy in Yateley, I believe.
Absolutely flat out. Valuations are up, supplies up, viewings are up, sales are up. Had a bit of a calm this afternoon while everyone stopped and watched the television from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Or Rishi, what he had to say for himself. No, it's the busiest start to the year, as Rightmove said. Busiest start to the year basically we've done. Yeah. And so far, touchwood, it's carrying on. The bungalow I took on, which is supposed to be, will be viewed on Saturday. Phone's not stopped. It's only stopped now because it's on silent.
The Apple tech is up as well by the looks of it, Mark, which is always good. Yeah. Dan, you got yourself a lovely little house plant there. You might have seen the house plant blog that we did over December.
Yeah,
it's looking good.
I've always had a fake house plant just to
I was
make
going to say, can we do a poll on whether it's real or fake?
Well, we know it's not going to be real, is it? I kill it. But
We're in my house, we're fantastic at killing plants. So if anyone's got a plant that they don't like that they got from their mother-in-law or something like that, give it to us. We're happy to. We'll water it, but we'll still kill it fantastically well. How's Shinfield, Winnersh, 3 Mile Cross, Sindlesham, all of the lovely areas that you cover, Dan?
oh, I'm loving it. It's crazy. That's the answer. I'm meeting new people every single day. Like different people, different challenges, different opportunities. Lots of people wanting to move. The market is really strong where we are. And to be quite frank, being inundated with people wanting to do stuff. So it's been an amazing start to the year, more so than I probably thought it would be. Even though I thought it'd be busy, it's been busier than I thought it would. So it surprised me. But yeah, absolutely loving it.
Nice. Mike, are you able to give us a little bit of a summary on bits and bobs that have happened today? And has there been any changes? Obviously, there was rumours that the Bank of England base rate would potentially change today.
Okay, so the numbers for January across the housing market for the Southeast is that supply, so houses coming to the market, is up 10% year on year, which is a massive, massive sea change. We had a whole year of real lack of decent quality houses coming available, which obviously pushed housing prices up through the roof. 10% increase year on year of houses coming available, which can only be good news for buyers and only be good news for home movers as well. So if you're looking to move from your first home to your second home, your second to the third, upsizing, downsizing, there is more supply. So you should be more confident about putting your own house on the market. And that in turn should release a bit of the pressure that's on the housing market at the moment. So that's nationwide, and that's regionalised. Southeast data is 10% year on year. Interest rates have moved again. Interest rates have gone from 0.25% to 0.5%. No doubt the red top newspapers will be calling that a hike or a doubling or 100% increase again, to try and panic someone into thinking something's going wrong. It's obviously a small increase that have been predicted for 3 years now, to try and just curb the inflation that's being caused around the economy. So interest rates are up. We did see a few moves from banks, but most importantly, the competition for first-time buyer mortgages is so rife that if you're looking at buying your first home with a 5 or a 10% deposit, it's not really going to affect your life. So interest rates have gone up on paper, and that's the most important thing. On paper, interest rates have gone up, but it's not really going to affect you on a day-to-day basis. You may have to buy one less bag of crisps a month. That's not regulated financial advice, by the way. But that's the difference will be minute on people's on the mortgages from yesterday to today. If you're taking out a 2-year fixed rate mortgage as your first time buy, it's not going to affect you. So, as Mark and Dan said, the housing market is still absolutely motivated by people who want to do something. So those sorts of shifts are just natural shifts, and they won't make many moves.
Do we think, gents, Dan, do you think that inevitably something has to slow it down, right? I know we're positive, we're in property, we're seeing it, at the coalface, we're seeing how active things are, but inevitably it can't carry on like that forever, because prices would be out of control in 5 years' time, and at a rate that's unbalanced almost. So if we see some interest rate rises, which we've seen this week, I know I've seen in the back end kind of five to seven major lenders that have put a bulk of their products up. It still means that the mortgage is dirt cheap, but it's just not as dirt cheap as it was a few weeks ago. But something has to kind of just give it a little bit of an edge, because none of us expected to go into January and see demand twice the levels that it was this time last year, which that in itself just sounds crazy.
Well, what's a great one? Do you think I think is going to stop at the moment, or when, or?
Do you think it will slow it down a little bit because of cost of living, inflation rates, interest rates? Sorry, do you think it's just going to edge it a little bit because it's something sort of has to, doesn't it? Because it is absolutely bananas at the moment.
I think something will. I just don't know if that's going to be it right this moment, to be honest with you, because I haven't seen any shift. I know some of these things only happened very recently, but I haven't seen anything to indicate any shift in where the market is for the moment. I always had an opinion at the start of the year that I felt the first 6 months of this year would be incredibly busy. And then by the time the summer opened up and people going away and things like that, and if the world continues to heal from the pandemic, then I think it might be a quieter, maybe slower back end to the year for those reasons. But otherwise, at the minute, I can't see it changing.
Yeah. Mark, any thoughts?
It's what I've been thinking about all day. Obviously, I knew we were coming on live. Are people really running so close to the wire that if the price of living goes up, as it's going to in April, are they living so close to the wire that it's going to have a massive effect on their lives? I wonder.
I think obviously there's different brackets of people, aren't there? And potentially the people that were going to move this year, with everything going on from that aspect of it, probably not. It's probably not going to impact the people that were planning to move this year. The unfortunate people that are wanting to move but can't afford to move are probably the people that will be most hindered by it. So if we sort of don't talk about the public in general, but we talk about the geographic or the demographic that we're talking about for buyers and sellers, they probably aren't going to be hit as much, in reality. I think it's probably a good point, fair point, Mike, I would say.
I think in a lot of cases, people because interest rates have been so low, mortgage rates, you're paying a small percentage of your income on your housing. So if your bills go up a little bit, then it's just a little bit of leveling out. I think the flip side of that is tenants are going to get the absolute worst end of everything. And that's a massively broad thing to say, but rental prices are going up at the moment because a lot of landlords are selling up because, one, the market's good, and two, they're being absolutely maligned by the government. Rules and regulations are being absolutely shipped in. Lots of threats, lots of problems coming for landlords. So a lot of landlords are just selling up because they can't be bothered to do it anymore. So twice as many landlords are selling as buying. So rental stock's going down. People need to move. People want to move. People need rented accommodation. So the price of interest on those properties going up. So prices are going up. Meanwhile, those people are also paying more council tax, paying higher gas bills, paying higher electric bills, paying more in the shops for their food. And traditionally, the calculation being 30 times 1 month's rent. So if you're earning £30,000, allegedly you can afford £1,000 rent. I think it's now being absolutely blown away. So I don't think home movers are really going to be affected by things. I think tenants massively. It's going to be a huge problem.
Yeah, totally agree. If people are thinking of remortgaging, there's a blog actually that's just gone on the website. I'm going to put it in the comments here, a link to it, because we've done a blog on remortgaging. We're talking about moving and potentially not moving and whatever the case may be. But we would imagine the interest rates that you're going to secure on a remortgage today are probably as cheap as they're going to be for a while. So, take advantage of that. And, we're all about putting good information out there, whether it links back to us making money or not. We're here for the public, we're here for the community, and a remortgage does nothing for us, but it will potentially help a lot of people. And it's just got some information on there, little things like prices have gone up. So if you've done a 2-year fixed and we think it went up 11% last year, so let's add 15% increase to your property, you could have moved from a 80% loan to value with a 20% equity. And when you do your remortgage, you could just carry on that product. But if you actually really look into it, you might find that you're now into the 75% bracket, and the interest rate is therefore much better at that bracket. So have a little read through that blog if you are thinking of remortgaging, because there's some good tips in there that will potentially save you some money. Things like where they do a desktop valuation. You might want to actually pay 300 quid to get a full valuation done because you've had an extension or you've changed the kitchen or whatever it may be, and it will help you on that element as well. Dan, have you got any little secret squirrels you can tell us about? Any little surprise packages for new properties? Any Beat the Portals coming up tomorrow over the weekend?
Can I? Yeah, blooming loads. I tell you what, people who see this now or later, make sure you're tuning in next week. I think myself and Neil have got 5 new properties going live next week, and all of them are absolute corkers. I mean, there's some really good properties, a really good range from between 3 and 4 beds, between late 300s up to 600. Some really good houses, which we know will be popular for people. I've been telling everyone this week, follow our pages, make sure you get involved, because you're going to have the opportunity to see them. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Also, the week after next as well, I've got another 5 or 6 that will be coming up to the market. So we've got a fair few in the area. And also, I did a little post yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was calling a VIP client sort of thing, and something a bit different. But might want to put the link in the comments again, maybe at some point tonight. But just to register your details if you're looking for properties with us, because you can do it really specifically, and you've got a great chance of getting a head start on the stuff we list before it hits the main portals.
Yeah.
And it's really specific to your search out there, people that are watching this, and it might help you get that edge to sort of get in there a bit quicker or sooner, or top of the list sort of thing. So
yeah, great point. I think the heads up property registrations for the clients that are taking advantage of it, it does mean if you're following our socials, then you're going to be in a position where you're going to get the Beat the Portals on the new properties straight away. If you're registered in heads up and you miss one of those, you're going to get an alert about a property that sits in your criteria. So it's almost follow the socials to make sure you're seeing what's coming up first and foremost. But if you miss Beat the Portals, then you're in a really good position with the heads up property alerts, where you are actually going to find exactly what you need. And I'm frantically trying to get that link, and I'm now pasting it. There we go.
Honestly, people use it. It's awesome. I was with a couple tonight and showed them that they loved it. They registered their details on it just so they can get a real head start. It's a game changer for people at the moment. The market's tough, isn't it? So
yeah, every area is a battle. Mark, Yateley, Hampshire, everyone's looking for certain types of properties. But if you are looking for a certain type of property, it's a great way to make sure you don't miss out on it if it comes on the market with us, effectively, is how I would sum that up. Would you agree, Mark?
Absolutely, 100%. Yep. If you want to be ahead of the rest, you've got to be signed up.
And you've got a group as well, haven't you? The Yateley Property Search Group. So if people follow that Facebook group as well, they'll find the same benefits in reality.
In reality, yeah. I mean, we've got 223 people, 90% of which are looking to buy in Yateley. Property-wise, have got a lovely 3-bed terrace coming on the next couple of days for under 400,000. That's Yateley Hawley Borders. I've got a 5/6-bed coming on, which I've got to be very secretive about for the moment, and it's in Yateley.
Very secretive, telling everyone live on Facebook.
It's in this road at this point.
Yeah. It's not quite by St Swithin's Church, but it's not far.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So one of the things that we've kind of put in there is the market's great, and it is great at the moment. But what advice would we give sellers? Dan, what advice would you give sellers at the moment? Because it's a seller's market, which means it's theirs to take a win or a really big win on. But, if you've lived at a property for 6-7 years, it's your family home, you've got a 3-bed semi, you want a 4-bed detached, or you've got a small 4-bed detached, you want a big 4-bed detached. It's a big decision. It's an emotional decision. So what advice would you give people to maximize the convenience, the price, and the ease of that transaction? What are you telling your sellers at the moment?
I think I have some real key advice on this. I'm quite passionate about it. And in fact, something happened this evening, which I can talk around as well. There's lots of different bits of advice on how to market a home and how to present it and all that bit. I'm not going to go into that. I think one of the key things is still for me and always will be price. And the reason I want to talk about it is because the market is great, but let's not get carried away with where we position a property in terms of the pricing. Because if you get it wrong, you will still sit on the market for far too long. So I'll give you an example of a timescale. If you go on the market, say your property's worth 550, but you put it on at 600, thinking that someone might make you an offer, you won't get any viewings. It probably won't happen because buyers are out there savvy and seeing what's going on and can find all the information out we can. And then you'll reduce it and reduce it and reduce it. And by the time you reach the right price of 550, 7-8 weeks down the line, and one buyer comes along, they're probably going to offer, and like it, they're probably going to offer you below the 550. And as a seller, you're probably going, what's the only offer I've had in 2 months, 3 months, I'll take it. So then you've got the choice of one buyer, might be in a chain, might not be the best person for your situation. And it's probably lower than what you would have got if you went on the market at 550 in the first instance. You've got one opportunity to make a first impression in everything in life. And it's just the same when selling a home. You've got one opportunity to get the price right, the marketing right, and really promote it. So what I'm seeing is, and I actually got some, give me 1 second. I've got a fact I'll share.
Stat man. He's the stat man.
I'm not really good at stats, but because I don't like them.
When I say stat man, I always just think of Scatman. Speed.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to carry on.
Don't. So this was just in some, this is not the whole market, it's a snapshot of some of the local postcodes like RG2, RG6, RG41, 45, things like that. So all local. And there was on here, to give an example, in total with the number of estate agents, approximately 8,000 new instructions. And out of those 8,000 new instructions, would you believe that 34%, almost 35% of them had price changes? And think about that. In a market which is moving quickly and moving on, thousands of properties are being reduced in price and therefore filtering out and not selling or getting lower than what they should. And the example I wanted to give, I won't name any names or addresses or anything like that, but I valued one this evening, and it's no doubt it's worth 325 to market at. And if you put it on at the right price at that level, I've got a good chance, I feel, of getting them a little bit more. So we might stretch it to 330, maybe a touch higher. But there's no history of them ever selling at that price, and that's actually the right value. Another agent has said 370,000 to them. So it's let that sink in, almost £50,000 more. And that's also £60,000 more than one's ever sold for. And it's a very small 2-bed. No, we spoke about this earlier. I'm not naming names. But the point is that that person's getting really poor advice when they want to move home, which passionately pisses me off because I think they're going to base all their figures on that and they're not going to move. And that property we won that goes on reduces, sits there, reduces, and sells for lower than 325, 8-9 months down the line. So what I mean by this is just try and get the price right to start with. Yeah. I know you're being led by what are called experts, but have a look yourself, work it out. You can see what's sold on your road. You should have a good idea, but please don't be led down a garden path and put it on too much because you just won't sell and you won't take advantage of the good market. If you get it right, you've got a chance of getting more. I put one on the market, got the price right. We got £40,000 more. Yes, a strike of luck in that. But the point is, it was the right price to get the right buyers in.
Mike, do you think actually the price of property is no longer viewed in the same way that it used to be for buyers and for sellers just in the market? Because it used to be, right, set the price at X, like Dan says, someone's going to knock you. And, if you talk to the generation above us, Mark's generation, then you would.
I think I'm 2 above you, aren't I?
that was the way it was, Mark, wasn't it? It's very much a case of put it on. It was a strategy. We'll price it here. You'll probably get this. It was almost like there was 2 valuations. Even when I was talking to developers, 5 years ago, even you're kind of talking. This is the asking price. This is the achievable price.
Yeah, I think the phrase, if I remember it rightly, you can always come down, but you can't go up, or something like that.
Yeah,
was quite a popular one, and people just, it doesn't matter what grade they got in their GCSEs or O levels or whatever they were at maths, they could always seem to deduct 10% off the price on the spot to make you an offer. That was sort of 2005, 2010 estate agency, I think, going back 10 years. That, if you put a house on the market at 330, the buyer knew 300 was 90%, and that was exactly where they were going to start. Whereas now, people are obviously much more savvy. They've got much more data at their fingertips, and they can go straight to house price indicators, whether it be provided by the agent, or whether it be Zoopla or Rightmove house prices. You can see what's sold, you can see what's selling, and you can just turn around to that person and say, your house is on at 375, you're having a laugh because everything else on this road is sold at 310, 325. I'm not even gonna turn up because you just. I was going to say a different phrase then, but whistling in the wind for what you want. So you're unrealistic. People go out to pay asking prices now. People go out to buy. They don't go out to mess around. They go out to buy. So if your house price isn't at a level that someone's going to buy at, they're just not going to turn up. They might book a viewing. They're not going to turn up though.
Going to view it, are they? Not going to view it, not going to make an offer. The analogy I use to a lot of people, it might seem a bit basic, but if you're going to sell, you know, you own a Ford Focus, you're going to sell a Ford Focus 2017 one, and you look on Auto Trader, you'll work out that there's 20 for sale all around, or how much 50 for sale between 10 and 11,000. You're not going to go and put it on for 15 grand, are you? Because no one's going to look at it.
Yeah.
But if you put it on for £500 less than the others, you're probably going to get inundated and get a cash buyer and choose the right person who's going to move for it, for example. So it's an easy way of thinking about it.
There is the element as well when you're in a chain, and you know a lot of people are in a chain. Actually, the challenge at the moment is not selling; it's selling to the right buyer. Yes, price is vital, but it's selling to the right buyer because a lot of people aren't able to find until they're sold. It's just not the way it's done at the moment, unless you've done some sort of deal off market or off portals. So you're finding a buyer that's going to give you the flexibility for you to go and find the property. So you're in the position to strike, but there's value in that buyer that's prepared to wait for you. If you've got a buyer that's saying, look, you've got to find in 3 weeks or I'm pulling out because I need to be out in, 12 weeks or whatever it is, that's not the buyer for you in this market because it will take you longer to find. So if you've got a buyer which is, in rented, they're happy to be on a periodic rolling contract with their landlord. They've already got agreement that they could be there for up to 6 months if they needed to be. And they're in love with your property because they want to live in that road. They want to live in that village. They want to live in that location. They want to send the kids to X school, or they like the dog walks around the corner, or their friends live up the road. Whatever the emotional connection is to that property, that's the buyer. You'd take $5,000 less for that buyer than you would the pushy buyer that's, you just would, because you've got a better chance to get in the house of your dreams.
100%.
Yeah. Mark, talk to us about just generally from your point of view, how different the market is now in comparison to, when you think back to when you kicked off your career. Is there any pearls of wisdom and words of advice that you could give sellers in this market? I know you've seen a few different markets, much like myself, Mike and Dan, but what wisdom and wise owl advice would you give to everyone?
Wise owl advice.
Have you ever heard it called?
I think. Yeah. I think. Oh, how to keep these in?
You want to get the head ones.
I do, don't I? I know. I mean, the estate agency had, on the whole, has changed. I mean, I came into it in 1993.
Still black and white.
Sorry?
I said still black and white back then, wasn't it?
Still black and white, yeah. We used to wait for the paper on a Thursday morning. Send the photographs off.
I mean, we did even when me and Mike started our careers, early 2000s, you still did. I mean, the iPhone, I don't think the iPhone came out till 2007.
That's about right. Yeah.
So you think the proper iPhone, I think the first proper smartphone, or the one that was really able to work efficiently, I think it's only like 14 years old. You think how far 14 years has come. It'd be crazy to think what's going to happen in the market in another 14 years' time and how different estate agents will be. I reckon people will be wearing hoodies, not suits. That's
right.
I think going back to your question, I think the massive change has been in the attitude of estate agency. I think when I first started, estate agents tended to think, you need me. I've got what you want, you need me. And with the evolution of technology, it's actually becoming more and more of, we actually need the sellers, we need the buyers, obviously, to put the deal together. And I think what's very important is estate agencies, you can see it changing virtually on a daily basis, where estate agents are becoming far less aggressive, more educated, more communicative. And communication is an absolute must in this industry. And it's what people have been praying for, begging for years and years and years. And I think that's probably the biggest difference is that back in 1993, if someone rang and left a message in the office, there was a 40% chance I wouldn't get it anyway because another agent wanted to stitch me up in the office, or it's all for one and one for all. Yeah, right. And I think with sellers nowadays, they like the fact that we're available on the end of the mobile, virtually 24/7.
Yeah.
If they message me at 11 o'clock at night and I'm still awake, they'll get an answer.
Yeah.
And it makes for such a better transaction. It makes for a much more enjoyable life as well.
Communication's probably the key point there. I always sort of hark on about the fact that in our industry, communication's the number one complaint, has been for 2 decades. And I think it is changing now. I think people realise that, if I want to set up Sky on my TV, I can pretty much get hold of them at any time to set up a Sky account, can't I? If I want an insurance policy on my car, I can pretty much call it any time. If I want to get hold of an estate agent that's not Avocado, I'm going to struggle if I haven't got their mobile number. And if I've got their mobile number, they're not picking up the phone anyway because they're not paid to do that. So actually, it's communication is really important in this day and age because people are so busy from 9 till 5 that actually a lot of the WhatsApps, we were talking, me, Dan, Mike, Neil, someone else were talking last night, funnily enough, sort of late last night, about how we actually do a lot of our follow-up and our catch-up on WhatsApp. When we're sat at home, sofa after dinner, might be 9, 9:30 or whatever. We do a lot of our catch-up sort of WhatsApps on after-sales support and whatever. Other estate agents have got zero interest in that, but I think they will catch on to it. Video was a big thing we pushed in the home counties in Berkshire, Surrey, Hampshire, and video is now becoming more and more part of an estate agent's. I wouldn't say they're great videos elsewhere, but they're getting there, aren't they? They're starting to follow. And
it's encouraging, though, isn't it? It's good to see that an impact's being had in a positive way to a lot of agents, I think.
Yeah, we want a estate agency to be better. We love the industry we all work in. That's why we're passionate about it. We're all business holders. And from our point of view, we want it to be better. We want the estate agents to follow. The reason we're so passionate about what we're doing is because we believe that's the future. And Neil's question here is, what do you think the biggest marketing platform come 2023 for estate agents? Mike?
TikTok.
Mark straight in with TikTok.
OnlyFans.
We've only just started 2022. It depends if you're talking about marketing houses or marketing yourself as a brand, as someone to work with. Certainly, Mark's hit the nail on the head. The fastest growing and the most engaging platform out there at the moment is TikTok. But most home sellers still, after 20 odd years, start their search on Rightmove. So I don't see Rightmove's dominance being changed at any particular time unless agents en masse start giving clients, buyers, sellers what they want elsewhere first, like we do with the guys' pages and the Beat the Portals tagline gives people a reason to move mediums and actually follow people and actually engage with them rather than just slinging it on Rightmove. So I don't see massive change to that en masse, but I do see progressive agents making more value, as Mark said, more communication, more value through either social media or their own websites. And that's just a slow, consistent build, depending on the attitude of those agents.
Dan, what do you think?
Really similar to what Mike says. I mean, I'm looking. Give you an example. In a couple of videos we did, even just our live Beat the Portals one. Within 24 hours, we're now getting traction between 1,500 to 2,000. Reach and people seeing it and so forth. Which I guarantee you're not getting that as soon as you list something on Rightmove, even. So, whilst I think Rightmove will stay dominant, I think if you've got a good usage of all of these platforms, whether that be TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, they're really going to be popular. In fact, for me and Neil so far, we've actually seen the biggest traction on Instagram. Those lives, those the stories, things like that really have a lot of traction. I think it's because a lot of people seem to have Instagram as an easy one to use, don't they? It's just really easy and simple and it's just there. So that seems to have a lot of traction for us. So I can only see it slowly going to those sort of social media platforms over time.
Yeah, I don't know about 2023 because obviously it's only a year away.
Yeah.
But I do feel if YouTube can get the YouTube Shorts right, and it's big in the US now, it's sort of in practice over here in the UK, but not fully functional. But I think if YouTube can get their YouTube Shorts right, I think there'll be a lot of traction in that because a lot of people go to YouTube to learn. They go to YouTube to watch their favorite shows. And I'm not talking about 2023. I'm just talking the future now. Everyone in the generation below us, from sort of early 20s to mid 20s or, teens that are the future first time buyers and tenants. YouTube is one of their biggest platforms of engagement, probably only second to Netflix. So I do think YouTube still holds a lot of power. And if they can get the shorts right, you'd watch a YouTube channel about property for advice, and you'd watch the shorts like a TikTok or an Instagram reel for property videos. So I think there could be some traction on there. What I think will probably happen is different estate agents will be specialists in different platforms. So you'll be like, have you checked out blah, blah, blah TikTok channel? Or have you checked out Dan and Neil's Instagram? Or have you checked out Sanjay and Ellen's Facebook page? Have you checked out Mark Holloway on TikTok? I think what will actually happen is estate agents will become specialists in one of the platforms. And the more once they become an authority on a platform, they don't need a portal. They don't need Rightmove. They don't need that element of things. And it won't just be luxury properties. It'll be the hyper local communities that will happen. And then I think that's where estate agents bring back the power, because all we need is 20% of the UK estate agents to not be on Rightmove, and it's lost its relevance. And I know the public quite like Rightmove, but estate agents don't. They hate it because it's terrible. It's terrible for estate agents, and it's not a good company from a service providing point of view. They're awkward, they're clunky, they're expensive, and they're not flexible. Sorry if you're watching Rightmove, but that's the fact of it. So at some point, Rightmove it'll be shut off. It won't be in existence.
Don't you think it's really exciting to have that sort of conversation though? So I remember, valuing properties even like 5 years ago, and one of your taglines was, "We advertise on Rightmove," because that was the only thing you could really showcase that everyone's going to display how good you are. And now you can be like, well, we promote your property on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these things where it's starting to become more normal, but very quickly. Yeah. So that's in 5 years. Well, like you say, another 5 years, probably more realistic to start seeing some of these big shifts, I think.
As soon
another 5 years to be holograms.
Maybe, yeah. Just a little 3D, doing a walk. I mean, you can do a doll's house walkthrough, can't you? So once that becomes more functional, more cost effective, and not so clunky, then potentially you just view it, virtually, quite literally virtually. But I also think if the public, this is important, I think, for people watching later on or watching live, if the public understood the data about their property being visually seen by different portals versus different social media channels, what they would realize is the average property on Rightmove, if it's been on for about 2 weeks, gets somewhere around 600 clicks. Depending if it's priced correctly, it gets somewhere around 600 clicks in terms of a ratio. Whereas Dan's talking about a property going on Facebook, and within 48 hours live, he's got 1,500 views of that property. So it's trumped within 48 hours from Facebook. So if people really understood that, between the avocado model, for example, we've got nearly 50,000 followers across our social media channels. So if we've got a property that we want to put live everywhere, we can have that live everywhere in 24 hours. And there is no portal that can match what we can do with that. There just isn't. So once the public realise the power of that and the confidence is there, they won't be so fussed about Rightmove. I mean, we're on Rightmove, we're on Zoopla, we're on the portals because we want to maximise everything. It's not ready for that yet, but at some point it will be. And then it comes down to social traction and your database, basically. And I think that's really important. So, yeah, that's my take on it.
Good question.
TikTok, YouTube, and then the power of personal brand. I think, Mike, you touched on it, but the power of personal brand will be absolutely vital because, Dan going live on Facebook and getting viewings. I spoke to Michael Childs over in High Wycombe, and he put a property live today on Beat the Portals on Facebook and Instagram. And I had a chat with him because I was interested. I was like, what's going on with the factory in the back garden of that property? and obviously he told me, but within the live and me calling him, he'd had 2 DMs asking and inquiring about it, and he can't get the photos done on that for about 6 days. So it's not going to be on Rightmove for 7 or 8 days. And he's already got people viewing it that are on his Instagram and his Facebook. There you go. That answers the question, I think, Neil. Yeah.
Like that.
Right, we're over time. I might have ranted there. Sorry.
I love it, man.
Guys. There's no short answer when you get me on social media and technology. I apologise. It's good chat. We covered a lot there, and obviously we're back next Thursday at 6:00. If you're watching now, thank you. If you're watching later on and we're not live, still comment, because we answer all the comments. Still let us know. If you've got questions, DM us. If you're looking in Yateley, North Hampshire, make sure you're following Mark's socials. Check out his Facebook page. He's all over it. Check him out on TikTok. He's doing bits on TikTok as well. I'm doing bits on TikTok. We're having a TikTok off. Maybe we'll have to do a split screen dance off one day, Mark. I don't know.
Yep.
Could happen. Dan wants to see it.
I do. I want to join in.
There's a verbal contract just been made. There was a suggestion, there was an agreement. I
witnessed that. 2 witnesses.
Yeah. I don't know what the song will be. I'll let you choose that, Mark. I'm a man of many different dance moves.
Right.
After I've had a tibble at least. So
Yeah.
Dan, loving the house plant. I couldn't tell that it was fake. It looks like you've well maintained it.
I have.
So keep that going. And Mike, loving the doors behind you. Do you want to talk us through the story of the doors behind you?
don't know what sort of story do you want on a door.
It piqued my interest now. What's going on with these doors?
I'm
Mike's
not
a big
sure
fan of he's a
what
big
sort of
fan
story you can
bifolds.
tell
He's a
people
big
about
fan
a
of
door.
big space off the kitchen.
But every house should have a bifold door. It increases property values by a minimum of 25%. That's a fact.
Is it?
He looks for the bifold door before he looks for the garage on the bullet points for any property.
Did you know? I've been told, by the way, can't remember what they're called, but there is an upgrade now to bifold doors, so you're going to feel a bit inadequate. But there's a
trifold doors.
Well, it could be that, but they rather than bifold, they bifold in all to one side. These ones swivel on their own bits, and you can slide them all left, right, middle, whatever you want. So you can have your door on the left, door on your right, door in the middle, all open. Yeah,
I'm good. I've got a fence on this side here, so I'm good. Just pushing more against the fence. All good, and I'm getting back in from the crowd as well, which is good to hear.
I think there's a blog in there, Mike. I think there's a bifold blog in there somewhere for the website. I think it's coming soon.
Other doors are available.
Right, gang. Enjoy your dinner. Enjoy your Thursday. Catch up soon. Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much.